It is holiday season, which means it's time for a bit of gift giving. Hopefully everybody got some gifts this holiday weekend, but we don't just need the gifts. New York pro sports teams, they need gifts as well. So let's talk about what gifts New York teams need. And joining me to give out some gifts is Taylor Ringold, host of the End of the Bench podcast and a betting podcast host for pregame.com. Taylor, what's going on, man?
What's up, Dex? Thanks for having me on.
I'm glad to have you here to talk about all this stuff because you're one of the best content creators in the New York area. And so you know about giving gifts to the people, giving good things to the people. So let's start with this, Taylor. The Yankees and the Mets, they've had themselves pretty solid off seasons that include some major free agent signings, but teams are always looking to upgrade before spring training. So you can give one gift to each team. I'm going to allow you to give one gift to each team. What gift would you give the Mets and what gift would you give the Yankees?
Well, Dex, we've seen an incredible offseason between two teams. You know, both these teams have checked off their checklist, their Christmas list. It's like, what else do you need? But I'm here to give gifts. So I'll start with the Yankees. The best fit for them right now, and another gift would be, is Brian Reynolds of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Reynolds is a switch-hitting power outfielder, perfect for left field. You got Bader in center. Of course, you got the Captain Judge in right field. It's perfect. But the Pirates want pitching. They want pitching prospects. The unfortunate thing is that the Yankees don't have that, but they have hitters. They have Peraza, they have Volpe in the minor leagues, and I think one of those guys could be an asset, but Hal Steinbrenner has been adamant about keeping those guys and maybe having those two guys start in 2023 together. Gleyber Torres could be another option, but I think Brian Reynolds is a great fit. And for the New York Mets, I mean, you talk about Santa Claus. Steve Cohen is Santa Claus. He spent $800 million this offseason. What else do you need? I have one more gift. It is Liam Hendriks of the Chicago White Sox. Hendriks is a premier closer, one of the best relievers in the game today. Of course, he wouldn't be starting as a closer for the Mets. Of course, Diaz signed that long-term deal this offseason. But imagine that 1-2 punch, a crazy 1-2 punch at the end of that bullpen alongside with their rotation and their lineup. Unfortunately, they would have to give up some prospects. Brett Beatty and Ronnie Mauricio, two guys that would come to mind. Those guys probably won't be starting for the Mets in the near future. With Correa at third and Lindor at short, those guys don't have a spot. They might have a spot in Chicago if this deal actually happens.
Okay, I like what you did here, upgrading the outfield for the Yankees, upgrading the bullpen for the Mets. I think Mets and Yankees fans can like those gifts. Okay, so we talked some baseball. Let's move on to football. Now, for the Giants and the Jets, it's a tale of two teams in December. Big Blue, they appear to be on the verge of a postseason berth, while Gang Green, they're in a bit of a tailspin, having lost 4 straight games. Taylor, your gifts for the New York football teams are what?
All right, I'm going to have fun with this one. I'm going to give a realistic gift and then a gift that's maybe for future fans. So We'll start with the Jets. Zach Wilson, of course, is the problem for the New York Jets. You got to send him somewhere else. You cut him, you trade him, send him to the North Pole, the moon. It doesn't matter. Send him somewhere else than in New York Jets uniform. Because of many reasons. Of course, one being he's lost the locker room. Nobody has faith. None of his teammates, even Jay Glazer talked about it a few days ago, that the New York Jets overall have lost confidence. I personally don't need Jay Glazer, Schefter, anybody else to give me reasons why, or just to tell me that the Jets have lost confidence in Zach Wilson. It's obvious. And also, he's not a good player. Of course, we all know it takes about 3 years for a player, like a quarterback, to get their act together when they get drafted. But we're not seeing improvements from Zach Wilson. He's not consistent. There's no presence in the pocket. He can't even throw to open receivers. So my gift to Jets fans, if I'm the guy giving out gifts, which I am, let's send Zach Wilson somewhere else, start with Mike White, or even get a free agent in the offseason. And for the Giants, well, the Giants, you have Daniel Jones, right? Jones has played pretty well. He has the lowest interception percentage in the league at 1%, which from last year, this is like a night and day Daniel Jones, right? But I would love to give Giants fans a premier passer, guy who can throw to targets each and every game and take pressure off of Saquon Barkley, who runs the ball each and every game, about 25, 30 times a game. And the guy I'm thinking about is Lamar Jackson. Jackson and the Ravens cannot get a deal done. So why don't Joe Schoen and the Giants go out and get him? If I was Joe Schoen, if I'm the gift giver, I want that. You have 9 draft picks next year. Give a few to the Ravens for Lamar Jackson. Make it happen. You might have a serious Super Bowl contending team if you have Lamar Jackson on your team.
Okay, so for you, it's all about the New York football teams upgrading at quarterback. You're all about the upgrades, and even in some cases the Jets getting people up out of here, Taylor. I see that. Now, lastly, let's talk about the basketball teams. Life has been good recently for the Knicks before they lost 3 in a row, and the Nets both have shot up the Eastern Conference standings. What do these basketball teams need right now as gifts, Taylor?
Both these teams are in prime form to make the postseason, right? It's nice to see 2 New York basketball teams doing that. For the Knicks, I'll go with them first. One of the hotter teams in the NBA, and they want to keep that hot rolling. So they need a scorer. Yes, they have RJ Barrett, who's become a great player for them. You have Randall, who's become a great shooter over the past few years. They need another scorer, though, that they can rely on throughout a whole game and a fourth quarter presence. We've seen Randall over the past few years kind of not really become the guy they've want in the fourth quarter. And the guy I'm talking about is a guy who actually beat the Knicks in the fourth quarter just a few games ago, and that is DeMar DeRozan. DeRozan has $28 million left on his contract for next year. The Bulls are looking like they're kind of losing track, and they're getting themselves out of playoff contention. They have a good team, but maybe it's time to rebuild. I like DeMar DeRozan. Yes, Grimes has become a great story this season. I like to have him off the bench, like quickly. You have DeRozan with Brunson, those 2 guys leading the pack. This offense could be even better. And to end it off with the Brooklyn Nets, yes, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant are the premier scorers on this team. Durant's he's almost scoring 30 points a game as of right now. But they need somebody else to help out the scoring. And the Nets are pretty much one of the smaller teams in the NBA, so they need height. And a little defensive help would be nice. And I think a guy like Miles Turner from the Pacers would be a cool and perfect fit for this team. Ben Simmons, a good overall player, not scoring much. Claxton's having a good year. But to take pressure off of Kyrie and KD, I think Miles Turner can really help out. He's averaging 16 points a game, which is a career high, and 8 boards a game. So you have defensive help, offensive help. I think it's a perfect fit for the Brooklyn Nets.
All right, there you go. Taylor Ringold giving out the gifts, playing the role of Santa Claus, sports Santa Claus, that is, here with a lot of great gifts. Taylor, those are great gifts. I hope you got some pretty good gifts this holiday season. I'm hoping for that for you. You can catch out Taylor's work hosting the End of the Bench podcast, and also pregame.com. He's one of the best content creators in the New York City area. Taylor, thank you for the time. Thank you for the gifts. We'll do it again.
Thanks, Dex. Appreciate it.